Okay, we're safely out of the marina, so what we're going to do now is put some sails up and go sailing. And your choice of sails obviously depends on the wind strength mainly. With this boat, my rule is up to 20 knots, full main and full genoa. 20 to 25 knots, I put one reef in the main, get rid of a little bit of the genoa. The genoa is on a furler, so just get rid of a bit of the genoa. 25 to 30 knots, second reef in the main, get rid of a bit more of the genoa. 30 to 35 knots, you can't reduce the mains any longer or any further because there's only two reefs, but get rid of the genoa altogether and use the staysail. We've got an inner forestay and a staysail. 35 knots, stay in the pub. So today we've got, we look at our winds indicator, it's 14 knots, that's 14 knots of apparent. We're doing 5 knots under motor, so apparent wind is probably only going to be about, true wind is only going to be about 12 knots maximum. And those wind speeds that I talked about were apparent wind speeds, not true wind speeds. Okay, so a little bit of wash coming from this cruiser here. So we're perfectly safe today to have a full main and full genoa. And we're in the lee of the mainland at the moment, and the wind direction is telling us it's an easterly. But once we're past that headland here, which you can't see, it's going to come round to more of a southeaster. And our course is pretty much easterly, so we're going to be close haul, but that's absolutely fine. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the main up. Now, this mainsail is traditional slab reefing, which means it sits in a boom bag. The boom bag is held up on either side by jackstays, which is fantastic. The alternative, of course, on some boats is either in-mast furling or in-boom furling, which makes life an awful lot easier, but of course makes life incredibly complicated when those things go wrong, which they inevitably will do. So I guess I'm a bit of a purist and I prefer the slab reefing. The only downside of slab reefing is that when you are hoisting the main, you have to be dead into the wind because the ends of the battens will get caught in the jackstays, as I'll probably demonstrate. So the first thing to do is to make sure you've got enough space, because at the moment the wind is coming from over here, it's on the beam. We're going to turn up into wind, and we'll make sure that we've got enough space. We're not going to run into we're not going to run aground, and importantly, there's no other boats around that are going to get in our way, or we're going to get in their way if they're sailing. So we've got lots of space. There's quite a stiff breeze now coming up at 14 knots, but that's fine. So before I turn up into wind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself ready. There's no point in turning up into wind because you're running out of space. Okay, you might as well get yourself set up first. And on this boat, there's 6 things to do. I'm going to remove my hat before I lose it over the side. I'm going to use this primary winch here, which is normally for the genoa sheet. I'm going to use that for my main halyard. So that's the first thing that I need to do, just to free that up. This is my main halyard, which I'm just going to bring out. So I'm now going to load up my main halyard onto my primary winch. Three or 4 turns, because there's quite a lot of load on there. And one thing we'll need to do, we are going to be close haul, so these running backstays, which go on when I've got the staysail up, at the moment they're surplus requirement, they can come off. Okay, I'll need to take that off because otherwise the boom won't be able to go out if we are on anything other than a close haul. If we went round onto a reach, if I don't run that running backstay forward, she's going to get in the way of the boom. So I'm just going to do that now. Just so she's out of the way. Most cruising yachts will not have a running backstay, so you don't need to worry about that. But this one has, because, as I say, of the inner forestay. It takes the pressure off the inner forestay. And that just needs to be loose. That's it. Okay. So, the other thing we need to do, I've got a preventer here. This is just a temporary preventer. It's not a proper preventer. And we will talk about preventers in another video, which you do need on if you are running downwind. If you're running at an angle greater than 160 degrees, you absolutely must have a preventer on to prevent the crash jibe, because it is the one thing on a boat that will kill you, being hit by the boom. And that's exactly what a preventer does. So that's just out of the way, and we just now need to load up our main sheet. Just bring out all the loose sheet, just dump it in the cockpit. Don't have it out here, always have it in the cockpit. It goes over the side, it will go around the prop, and that means you won't have to get underneath to unravel it. So just have that on the winch. You can open up the jammer so she's ready to go. Okay, so we've now set everything up, ready to go. Just going to make sure once again we've got plenty of space. Certainly plenty of space as far as the land is concerned. There's a couple of boats over here, but I don't think we're going to get the mainsail up before they come anywhere near us. So she's going to come through 60 degrees up into wind, so I'm going to press my auto helm 6 times. She'll come up into wind, and there's my wind direction indicator. Probably another 20 degrees. And while she's coming up, I can just get the first bit of the mainsail up. Going up nice, it's getting into the wind. At the moment I need to go up 10 degrees to port, and just do small movements, because otherwise you'll go the other way and you're going to be sort of going backwards and forwards. So just give it time to come round. There we go. Whoops, sneezing. So there you can see is a perfect example. That batten has gone in, so you just need to let it down a little bit, just enough. So there you go. All right, and then back up again. So it's it can be a little bit fiddly. 10 degrees port. Just be patient, because you know, 10 degrees. Obviously, if you don't have an auto helm, then it's difficult to do by yourself. So you'll need one other person on the helm. Past the last batten, so shouldn't be any dramas now. She's a big sail. Make sure your reefing lines, if you had a reef in, make sure your reefing lines are free, so they run out smoothly. Okay, we're almost there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer jammer off. I'm going to transfer to the smaller winch because there's more torque, and I can just get a bit more tension. Right, just release. Sorry, just going to release the main sheet. That's stopping it going all the way up. Should now go all the way up. Thank you. Okay, I think we're up. Always put the jammer on. Take her off the winch. The winch is not for holding halyards. There's far too much load on there. They're not designed for that. Okay, just put it up. Okay, and now we go back on our course. Make sure there's no other boats around. And we're probably going to be on a little bit of a broad reach, sorry, not a broad reach, a close reach to start with. So I'm going to shoot out the main a little bit as we go. So as you can see, I've done all of this single-handed, and so it's easy when everything's electric, of course, when you've got electric winches. And but the point is, you know, she's a 60 foot boat. She weighs 23 tons. and I just wanted to sort of demonstrate, you know, you can do it by yourself. If you don't have anybody to go sailing with you, and you still want to go sailing, you can do it all by yourself. Decided to do, having got the main up, we've got 12 knots of breeze, but that's it, we're being protected by wind and lee of the land here. Once we get around the corner, the wind is certainly going to pick up, and it may be a bit too much for a full Genoa. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the staysail out for the moment, because this is much easier to handle. And so that's on a furler, but it's not an electric furler. It's just because it's a small sail. It's easy just to. So what I need to do is just release the furling line, and she's a self-tacking staysail. So what I need to do is just come out.
Done.
Engine off. Let's go sailing.